Good morning. My name is Alex Barney. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to our service. Unitarian Universalism encourages an open-ended search for meaning in life and a commitment to asking our values to shape our actions. We are a pluralistic religion that draws wisdom from many sources. We welcome all people into our community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We especially welcome those of you who may be worshiping with us for the first time. We invite you to join us after service downstairs for coffee and snacks so that we can get to know each other better. Guests are welcome to participate in any activities in our community. If you would like more information about our congregation, or if you have questions, please ask any board member or Reverend Patrick Price. Thank you.
Good morning. I don't believe you. Good morning. Good morning. There you go. All right. Well, this morning I have the privilege of introducing you to our new music director, Gates Thomas. Gates is not with us today, but he will be with us next week. Let me tell you a little bit about Gates. Gates is going to be also our accompanist. He is employed at just over quarter time and will be playing most Sundays and special services, as well as directing the vocal choir and eventually the chimes choir. Gates is a Davenport native who returned to the area during the COVID-19 lockdown to settle here with his life partner. He is a gifted vocalist, keyboardist, guitarist, violinist, conductor, arranger, composer, mixing engineer, and producer. It gets better. He has a Bachelor's of Music, summa cum laude, from Berklee College of Music in Boston, and has a Bachelor of Arts from Northwestern in Evanston. He has been on the faculty at Berklee College of Music since he graduated in 1992 and currently is a professor there teaching remotely. He has areas of expertise in composition, production, and recording studio work. He worked for Treehouse Music Productions in New York, doing music production, composition, arranging, conducting, transcription, audio recording, and production. Clients of his include Bobby McFerrin, Pat Metheny, Gary Burton, Sadeo Watanabe, Jim Hall, and Chris Willis. He was also the music director at Fourth Universalist Society in New York City from 2010 to 2017. Excuse me. At his reference, the Reverend Dr. Rosemary Bray McNatt, who is currently president of our UU Seminary at Starr King School for the Ministry, wrote of her 4 years working with Gates at Fourth Universalist, saying, "I am delighted," all caps, "to recommend Gates Thomas. We had tremendous fun working together at Fourth U until I left to lead Starr King. Gates is an incredible resource, a beautiful singer, an excellent pianist, and a skilled arranger of music. I truly got spoiled working with him. If I returned to congregational service and I had the chance to work with Gates again, I'd do it in a heartbeat." Gates will begin with us here, technically, on November 1st, playing next Sunday. Choir rehearsals will begin this coming Thursday night, November 3rd, at 6 p.m. till 7:30. I want to thank our music search team, Hannah Harrington, Doug McCullum, and Miriam Andrews-Ullman, for their work and support in this process. And if you have questions about the choir, please speak with them about that. Can you all stand up or raise your hands? Or there you go. So given that, we now have all of our staff positions filled here at the congregation. So you should be very grateful. Many other congregations do not, and my wife's congregation in Peoria included. They look at me and go, they really are very quite jealous. So we are doing quite well, and I think we should thank the heavens for our blessings. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Come, let us enter this space with hope and community. Come, let us enter this space with our sorrows, our joys, our passion, and compassion. Come, let us enter this space with the stories of our ancestors, for their strength and wisdom beats in our hearts. Come into this space, present to the beloved companions who move beside us. Come into this space, mindful that together we are building a future for other generations. Come into this space and let us worship. Let us join in unison in saying our chalice lighting. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. Guide us to trust in love as we kindle this flame together. And please join us now in our opening song, 123, Spirit of Life. Rise as you're willing and able in body or spirit. We will sing this through 3 times. Please remain standing and join us in our responsive reading. Number 468, we need one another. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in despair and temptation and need to be recalled to our best selves again.
We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone.
We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs.
We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again.
We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. And now we greet the holy in our midst by briefly turning and greeting our neighbors. The emphasis is on briefly. Today we also have the opportunity to say a great deal of thanks to Aline Burke, who is leaving us. This is her last time playing with us here before she returns to Texas, to Corpus Christi. Aline has been As many of you know, she has been playing with us most Sundays through the last 3 months or so and leading our services with good humor and an almost effortless grace and skill. Aline, we wish you well and safe journeys in your travels as you head home to warmer climates in the coast of Texas. And I hope all of you will take an opportunity to come down. We have a card for her and a bouquet of flowers for her to take with her to enjoy the week. I believe you're leaving town next Saturday, you said. So the flowers should be good for the week, I hope. And hope you'll say goodbye to her in your own way and share with us. And now is the time for our message for all ages.
Are we on? We're on? Can I sit with you guys today? Oh, thank goodness. I'm so glad you said yes. Oh. I think I turned it on. Flipped it up. Can you hear me? Yep, we got the thumbs up upstairs. Awesome. So, we're coming up on the kids' High Holy Day. There's a lot of kids, I know. Isn't it awesome? That's what I'm talking about. The High Holy Day for kids. Who's excited for Halloween tomorrow? Me. Exactly. You got your shot? Sure. And you won a kid race. All for Halloween. You got a medal? That's perfect. I bet y'all are going to be like some really easy stuff. Like you're just going to go to your parents' closet and get costumes for Halloween. We'll talk about her in just a second, okay? ketchup and mustard costumes and a mustard hat? Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You're going to be Pikachu? And your brother's going to be Ash Ketchum and he's going to catch you? Oh my gosh. He doesn't? I got to watch that show again. What about you, Deshaun? What are you going to be for Halloween? You're going to be the same thing? A pea shooter? I want to see pictures because I'm very curious about that. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share what you're going to be for Halloween? Go ahead. That's your costume? Ghoul bus. It's a picture of a bus with all sorts of cute little creepies on there. That is so cute. Because they're about to go on Halloween. 3 witches. It looks like Hocus Pocus almost. Yeah. So, do you guys think you're going to be doing Halloween forever? No. Yeah. I mean, even as adults, it's fun to do Halloween, right? Yeah. It is. It really is. Because they're not? That's okay. Sometimes you dress up and sometimes you don't, you know? So, I've had some questions. I just wanted to talk about Halloween real quick. This really has nothing to do with the words of all ages. I just thought it'd be fun to hear what Halloween stuff is going on. One more. Yeah. You like having treats. We all like having treats, don't we?
We have a lot at home.
Okay, so I've had several questions. Okay, Stella, last one. I'm losing control here. What's up? It's about the picture. Thank you, Stella, for putting us back on task. I greatly appreciate it. So this week, this month, we've been talking about our first principle. I see you, Gracie, and I know you have something to say. Let's talk downstairs, okay? We've been talking about our first principle, right? Does anybody remember what that's about? It's a big word. The inherent worth of everybody. I know, Stella, those are some big words. We were talking about that, about how about everybody is born good. Everybody is born being special. Everybody is born, being okay. It's okay to be who you are because you're special. Now, the picture up here is about has to do with that, and it also has to do a little bit about courage. Okay, well, let's ask it downstairs, Rowan, okay? So, this person is Malaya. She was a kid, just like you, and she lived in a place far away. Has anybody heard of a place called Pakistan? No. Dominic has. Have you heard anything about Pakistan? No? You just know it's a faraway place? Yeah? That's fair. She was born in the 90s in Pakistan. You guys think the 90s is really old? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll talk about that downstairs. Okay, we're not going to get into it here because there's a lot to say about that. But she was born in the 90s. And for a lot of adults out there, you know that 90s, Pakistan, early 2000s, that was some troubling times. So, Malaya, was a writer. She liked to write her thoughts. She had fun in school. Her father was a principal at the school. Do you like writing down your thoughts? You do? You're learning it in school? I wish I had gone to your school because you know like all the cool stuff, Stella. You really do. No, seriously, like last Sunday, she told me all sorts of stuff about Judaism that I was like, what, really? And she was like, yeah, I learned it in school. And I said, okay, cool. So, she liked to write down her thoughts. And she liked to read, and she had a lot of fun doing that. And then, at one point in time, and then at some point, an organization called the Taliban came into Pakistan, came into power there. That's a good question. We'll have to ask him the next time we see him. So, the Taliban came in, and they said, hey, guess what? Girls can't learn.
What? I can learn?
Yep, you sure can. And that's what she said too. But there was a group of people coming in. I know, it's shocking. There's a group of people that came in, and they're like, you know what? Girls can't learn. You can't go to school.
Why is that what they instead of going
That's a preacher question. That's not for me. So they came in, they said, girls can't learn. And she said basically the exact same thing. Yeah, we can. What's it to you? So, but they had to be safe because these Taliban people, they were kind of like bad dudes, and they were afraid that they were going to be hurt if they didn't do what they said. We're way off topic here, but it's getting better. So they came in, they said, girls can't do school. But she said, yes, we can. And she started doing the one thing that she was good at and what she could do. She started writing about it. Yeah, you can. And that's what she said, too. She said everybody should have the right to go to school. So she started writing a blog online about it and writing stories and trying to tell everybody that girls should go to school. And then, like, the Taliban started fighting in Pakistan, and, like, her town and her city and her house was destroyed. But when she found her house, it still had all of her books. It still had all of her writing in it. And she liked seeing that had survived. And she thought that, you know what, maybe words have power. And I want to go and I want to use my voice to tell people that my words have power and that everybody should go to school. Say it again. Everybody should go to school.
I can go to school.
That's right. That is right. That's what she wanted everybody to say. Now, a few more bad things happened to you. And we're going to abridge this because I can tell that we've already lost everybody. So, a few more bad things happened. And she ended up in England, okay? And she was 16 when she ended up in England. Stella? You know why? Maybe we'll talk about that downstairs because I want to hear. Okay? So, she ended up in England when she was 16. And she became a special guest speaker at the United Nations. That's a big thing. Does anybody know what the United Nations is? Does anybody know what the United Nations is? We'll just go ahead and throw this out to the general public. Oh, go ahead.
Are you wanting an answer?
Sure, go ahead.
It's an assembly of representatives of the nations all over the world who come together to discuss important issues and try to come up with resolutions.
Yeah. So it's a group of people who come in and say, you know what, we need to start fixing stuff, right? Yeah, and she came in and she said, this is something you need to fix. We need to make sure that all of our kids are educated. She was brave enough to stand up in front of a whole group of people and say exactly that. We should be educated. We should do this. And she eventually went to school to Oxford. She graduated with a political science degree, and this is what she's working on. But she started out just as you guys. She started out young. She started out writing her thoughts and thinking, you know what, things aren't right. She was using some of our first principles without even knowing it, that people have inherent worth. Girls have inherent worth to learn. Everybody should get a free education. How about you show me downstairs? So let's wrap this up. Let's head downstairs and we'll do something else. Okay, kiddos?
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you. It is joyful to hear the sound of children's laughter in this place. At this time in our service today, we share the joys, concerns, and milestones that may have previously been written down for us. Lori, was there anything shared with us today? Didn't look like it. Is there anything shared with us today online? All right, thank you. So if in the future you have those things, please share them with us in writing in advance. If you need support in your life, please contact the church office, the pastoral care team at care@uucqc.org, or any member of our pastoral care team or me. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to please join us in a moment of silence, followed by a musical meditation. During that time, please feel free to come forward to light a candle as you will. And today we also invite you to bring forward to share any images or tokens of your beloved on our altar of remembrance. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in our shared joys, sorrows, concerns, and celebrations as we move into a time of quiet reflection, meditation, or prayer, as you will. Oh, may I join the choir invisible of those immortal dead who live again in minds made better by their presence. Live in pulses stirred to generosity, in deeds of daring rectitude, in scorns of miserable aims that end with self. In thoughts sublime that pierce the night like stars, and with their mild persistence urge our search to vaster issues. So to live is heaven, to make undying music in the world, breathing a beauteous order that controls with growing sway the growing life of humanity. The better self shall live till human time folds its eyelids and the human sky be gathered like a scroll within the tomb. This is the life to come, which martyred souls have made glorious for us who strive to follow. May I reach that purest heaven, be to other souls the cup of strength in some great agony. Enkindle generous ardor, feed pure love, beget the smile that have no cruelty. Be the sweet presence of a good diffused, and in diffusion ever more intense. So shall I join the choir invisible, whose music is the gladness of the world. What I have found in my own life and in my ministry is that usually that which we fear in our own deaths and grieve in the deaths of others is a loss of immediate relationship. It is the loss that we, which is part who defines who we are. There is also a fear of losing any hope of maybe changing that relationship. The grief may be particularly poignant for those of us from unhealthy family systems where we had not yet come to terms with the reality that someone, our parent, a sibling, or other, is not going to meet our needs. This is true whether the other person is alive or dead. But in death, we are forced to confront this reality far more directly. However, in this way, we may in fact be given a gift. While we cannot get our needs met by them, we can begin to meet those needs ourselves and with others in healthy ways. A source of hope for many of us is that even with the death of a loved one, we can change that relationship by changing ourselves and how we relate to that interior presence in our lives. As Unitarian Universalists, we reject the misconceptions of humanity and existence as being fallen or depraved in our basic natures. Instead, we embrace the idea of and have faith in an ultimately optimistic universe. We have reflected that in the first principle of our covenant, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. While we often interpret that phrase as a highly individualistic statement, historically, our Universalist forebears saw it as a statement not about an individual, but about all individuals. If all are worthy, then the fate of one is the fate of all. We are all in this together. As Unitarian Universalists, we uphold the democratic process by which equity, justice, and compassion are manifest in our relationships with each other and the world, and this includes death. As John Donne wrote about death, it comes equally to us all, and it makes us all equal when it comes. Death is the ultimate act of democracy in this world. And what we believe about death affects the way that we live our lives. The Reverend Kendall Gibbons writes that the only promise of any sacred thing is the promise of a more abundant life. So if our understanding of death helps us to be healthier, more liberated, engaged, and fulfilled as persons and communities, then it is to be cherished. But if an understanding of death in an afterlife limits our willingness and our ability to love or to be kind, if it makes us afraid of ourselves and others, if it threatens the very bonds of our solidarity with each other and all that is, then it is not an afterlife worth squandering our lives for. We need one another in life and in death. And we are not cut off from each other even after death. Through our seventh principle, the interconnected web of all existence of which we are a part, we affirm this reality. No matter how we view death and an afterlife, we are always connected to each other. Whether this connection is through our atomic structures and as part of the basic cycles of nature, or through the survival of the spirit in a heaven of all souls, or through some form of reincarnation, or many others that can be explored and speculated on from this side of the event horizon of death. We are a part of a world community stretching backwards and forwards through the generations. We die not alone. We live not alone. And we exist together not alone. However it is that we understand death and whatever exists beyond it, its mystery, we are each other's in this life and for eternity. I invite you to please join us in our responsive reading. When death comes suddenly, taking just one friend or in a magnitude beyond our comprehension, in horror and disbelief, we remember. When bright and innocent lives are cut short without warning or mercy, in agony and outrage, we remember. When a long life closes with honor and thankfulness, in reluctant submission and gratitude, we remember. When bereavement and loss seem to be everywhere, and the world goes dark in emptiness and pain, we remember. When help and comfort must be given to the afflicted, and the work of our hands is needed in duty and sacrifice, we remember. When the arrangement must be made, and the severed threads bound up in ritual and custom, we remember. When it feels that nothing matters, and life as it once was seems distant and unreal, in sorrow and numbness, we remember. When grief comes upon us in waves, and the helpless heart overflows in sadness and aching tears, we remember. When words at last become meaningless, and the only peace lies inward in silence and solitude, we remember. When communities come together, and hearts share in mutual comfort and consolation, we remember. When a strain of music or a familiar image brings a gentle, wistful smile, in tenderness and nostalgia, we remember.
When the spirit of life beckons us to lift our eyes to all that remains true and good, in dedication and trust, we remember.
When the lessons of mutual help and understanding taught by tragedy live on in us to bless the world in love and kinship, we remember. We would come to honor those who have lost by learning to cherish more dearly those around us. In generosity and gratitude, we remember. In this moment, I invite you to call into this community, either aloud or in your hearts, the names of those who are among the beloved dead. Dorothy and David Price. Michael Foss. Alan Egley, Charlotte Seleska. Let us enter now into a brief moment of silence. Please join us in singing our song, By the Waters of Babylon, 3 times.
We sat down and wept and wept.
Leslie Takahashi shares with us, "We return again and again to the season of forgiveness. And each time we come bearing gifts, a grudge to relinquish, a hatred to extinguish, a hope that has bloated and distorted, a glancing word that has wounded. Each time we walk the roads towards forgiveness, we mutter that we have been here before. We will remember that forgiveness is not so much an act as an attitude, not so much a duty as a love we give ourselves. As part of the ever unfolding new beginning, we are moving into the midst of one of those times of year when holidays come in bunches. Monday is Halloween. Diwali was last week. Thanksgiving is near at hand. We have the Yuletide season, Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's, and others. More immediately, a week from Tuesday is what?
Election Day.
Election Day. Good for you. And I hope you will vote. In the pursuit of power or access to power, many officials and candidates and supporters act very, very badly. Many doing things we can only hope they will regret later. After the dust settles, we, the citizenry, are often actively asked for our individual and collective forgiveness and some form of reconciliation despite their various transgressions. Whether we forgive them is our own personal choice, and this is the case with the rest of our lives as well. So what is entailed with forgiveness and reconciliation, and how might we apply those to our lives? The word forgive is usually defined as to give up resentment of or claim to requital for some offense, or to forgive is to cease to feel resentment against some offender or offense. Forgiving is an allowing of room for error or mistakes. So part of forgiveness is a recognition of our fallibility. So why should we forgive, though? Rabbi Harold Kushner, author of the national best-selling books, one of which is How Good Do We Have to Be? He offers up that one of the reasons we may choose not to forgive is that it gives us a feeling of power over someone and we may otherwise feel powerless with. Kushner says that though holding on to grievances against another tends to do two things. First, they estrange us from other people, and that in turn can become a habit. Secondly, holding grudges conditions us to think of ourselves as victims rather than as active participants in our own lives. Not forgiving, in fact, gives away our power to move past the action or person which we are enmeshed with. Forgiveness is therefore an act of personal liberation and empowerment, more for the forgiver than for the forgiven. So in forgiving, we choose health and happiness over righteousness. Now let me be very clear that all this talk of forgiveness is not about forgive and forget, or about condoning what we or someone else may have done. It is about moving beyond suffering towards a place of healing. For us as religious liberals, as Unitarian Universalists, the consequences of not forgiving are twofold. First, it does all the things which Rabbi Kushner says, which is to give away our power and turn us into victims, and in turn allows us to negate or ignore ourselves as inherently worthy beings. In not forgiving, we in turn are not able to fully honor ourselves as precious parts of the holiness of the universe. And secondly, we are less able to honor the sacredness of others, and not just those we have transgressed, not those who have transgressed against us. No matter how indifferent or depraved a person's actions, the person is not devoid of worth. We are obligated to remember and honor this reality if we wish to claim the same for ourselves. choose happiness over righteousness. Forgiveness says we can do better. It is an encouragement for us to grow, to be more than we currently are. It is a part of the spiritual journey of accepting ourselves as we are, as enough, and seeking to be even more, to transcend ourselves as we are. Forgiveness can move us towards healthier relationships with ourselves, with each other, and with the holy. Now, given all of this, how do we apply it in our lives and to each other? In the first place, forgiveness makes reconciliation possible, but it does not make it inevitable, nor does it make it necessary. For example, we may be able to forgive someone and get beyond resentment, but we may not be able to be reconciled with them. Our trust may continue to be damaged, and we may not have the ability to be vulnerable and to risk with them again. And secondly, we shouldn't be proxy grudge holders for other people. Being sympathetic for others is an important part of being fully human. But holding grudges on behalf of another is usually a sign of a projection of our own issues onto an unrelated situation. The same goes for any inclinations to feeling religious indignation over violations of religious beliefs. Transgressions against Goddess God or the universe are between the transgressor and the universe. We don't need to mediate or meddle on behalf of the holy. So what conditions are necessary for us to be able to forgive and to move towards reconciliation? What would help is first for there to be a recognition of a will on our part that we indeed wish to forgive. Secondly, an honest recognition of wrongdoing and a sincere apology by the transgressor. Thirdly, an offer to make amends of some kind reasonably determined by those who have been transgressed against. To forgive or not to forgive is our choice. Do we liberate ourselves from being held hostage by our anger at ourselves and others? Do we release the white-hot coal of resentment and choose happiness over righteousness? As our UU tradition challenges us to love, justice, and mercy, and to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people. In forgiveness, we put into practice all those beliefs. By seeking to forgive and to be forgiven, we can make reconciliation and restoration a greater harmony, the more present possibility for ourselves and for our world. Please join us now in our responsive reading, Forgive Us by Vivian Pomeroy. Forgive us that often we forgive ourselves so easily and others so hardly.
Forgive us that we expect perfection from those to whom we show none.
Forgive us for repelling people by the way we set a good example.
Forgive us the folly of trying to improve forever.
Forbid that we should use our little idea of goodness as a spear to wound those who are different.
Forbid that we should feel superior to others when we are only more human.
And may we encourage the secret struggle of every person. And in this moment, let us name into the blent air here, either in our hearts or out loud, calling into the circle all of those who need attention and care, who are in need of healing, including ourselves. Aaron Price. Let us join then in a moment in silence. Please join us in our song, I Know This Rose Will Open. You may rise as you're willing and able in body or spirit.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
The offering is a sacrament of the free church, and by choosing to support it, its principles and its ministries, we share half of the undesignated collection with various worthy causes each month. This month, our collection is going to be shared with, and who is it we are sharing with? Quad Cities Affirming Diversity. To donate online, you may go to uucqc.org, our website, and click on the donate page at the bottom of the page, a donate button. You can pay via PayPal with a credit card. We ask all to be as generous as you are able. Let the offering now be received with gratitude. Before we begin the last section, I will be skipping the last homily, just so you know, for the nature of time is upon us, and I want to respect that. Rabindranath Tagore, the famous Indian poet, has written, "The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of earth, in numberless blades of grass, and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and in flow. In my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment." Please join us in our responsive reading. A planet is born, a spark ignites something completely new and different comes into being.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of life.
A waterfall descends, a rainbow arcs through the sky, the ocean opens to an endless horizon.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of beauty.
The stars pierce our hearts, peace envelops us, we are blessed.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of wonder.
In the midst of pain, we find our way to hope and restoration.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of healing.
In the midst of fear, we do what is right and speak our truth in faith.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of courage.
In our aloneness, we see someone in greater need and offer ourselves to them.
We give thanks for the mystery and miracle of compassion.
We gather in community and friendship and cherish each other.
We give
As
thanks
the mystery and miracle of love. And now we invite the naming and giving of those and that for which we give thanks. This gathered community. My family. The blessings of music shared. The beauty of this day. Let us enter briefly into a moment of silence. Let us sing now our closing song, number 18, What Wondrous Love. We're only singing it once, so please rise as you're willing and able in body or spirit.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and
Please join us in the unison extinguishing of our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And may the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile upon you and prosper you. May the Eternal befriend you and protect you and favor you and all people, always, in all places. Amen, and blessed be. Amen.